Welcome back to Shanghai for live coverage of the Dota 2 Asia Championships 2017. Day 2 is about to come to a close, but not before we have our 6th and final series of the day. Two teams going head-to-head, and boy, do they need the points right now. Liquid in a little bit of trouble in their group alongside Team MP, who've actually exceeded expectations and do have a genuine shot at getting into the top 2. We're also back at the panel once more. We've got PPD and Purge back with us once more. Purge, big game between Liquid and MP for both teams.
Yeah, I don't really know who's going to perform better. They've both been, I would say NP's been performing better, but Liquid's been disappointing a little bit. Some of the wins they've gotten have been kind of scrape it together, barely pull it over the finish line wins. So I think it'll be a really good series.
Yeah, Peter, we're going to start talking about Liquid. They are a good team. They've got great players, but they've been disappointing so far.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the team, a big fan of all of their players. I'm a huge fan of Miracle. I think he's like one of the best players out there. But he hasn't really found his stride too much with Liquid. Last year we saw him kind of dominate the scene with OG, but this year Liquid failed to qualify for Boston Major, which was a huge surprise. But then they kind of kicked it back up a notch. They got rid of Bulba, brought in GH. Things started going well, and here at this event they're falling a little flat. They were like one of my favorites coming into this tournament, but let's see if they can turn it around as we're headed into the main stage days.
Yeah, and in terms of the makeup of the team itself, and the lineup that they have now is very different, obviously, to the one they had last year. Stability was a key part of Kuroki's plan for 2015 through to 2016.
It's always part of the plan.
Eventually, you get to a point where you can keep 5 players for a whole year, but he's fabled for doing that. Is it still working, do you think, for him? Because they have made a change, obviously, as you mentioned.
They've got some player stability, but I feel like stability is one of their in-game issues, that they don't always hit that. They throw sometimes. It's just really straightforward. They go for Roches sometimes that don't quite work out. It's something that Blitz would always vent about. He'd be like, they Roche and they lose. Like, that's what happens sometimes. They try to take a Roche when they think they can, and they end up getting caught and losing a fight and losing Roche and then losing momentum. That's an issue that definitely always plagues Liquid, even if their players have been consistently on the team for a long time.
And Team MP will turn our attention to them. And obviously, the man at the middle of it all is Eternal Envy. How do you assess his role right now? We mentioned yesterday, Peter and I were speaking about the fact that he seems to have everything on his shoulders. He's got all the pressure, he's got all the press, he's got all the publicity, he's the captain, he's the team leader. He's taking it all away from the other players. Has that helped that team grow, do you think?
I think in some ways, yeah. I would say some of them seem very, maybe a little camera shy, not interested in interviews and things like that. But within the game, at least, I think they all perform quite well. I'd say the big hitters are definitely the 3 cores, especially. But I think their strats are interesting. They pick a lot of good synergy. They have good theory crafting going for them. They have some creative ideas, and I don't think they have too much to lose here either.
Yeah. Have we underestimated them a little bit, Peter?
Maybe a little bit. I think that we took maybe their results from the qualifier a little too strongly. Yeah. I think that they're. I think
for Kiev.
They were supposed for Kiev. They were supposed to win that qualifier.
Yeah.
I think that they were the best team in there by far.
Yeah.
It just didn't really. It just wasn't their day, I guess.
Yeah. And yet a harder qualifier, some would argue, was for DAC for here, that they did come through.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
doesn't make any sense, really, does it?
Just it just proves how close all these teams really are.
Yeah.
And,
good days and bad days.
Good days and bad days for sure. And now would be a good time to have a good night. 2-0 over Liquid. That probably puts them in a really good spot to be in the top 2 and then get a top 6 finish at DAC, which will be. What we talked about for MP is like this event could be some great motivation headed towards TI.
Yeah, it could repair a lot of the damage and lack of confidence from not qualifying for Kiev, couldn't it?
They have some really good players. I think that SVG and MSS are like 2 like very young players in the scene, but I think they're like incredibly good. I think they're gonna have like tons of potential.
You think they're gonna have good long careers?
Yeah, if they stick with it and they work hard.
Yeah.
SVG was our coach last year, and I was like super impressed with him.
What aspect about him coaching did you impress you?
He's just a thinker about the game who can kind of connect a lot of smaller ideas into a bigger picture, which not everyone is capable of doing. And he also is just like he likes playing, he likes thinking about the game, he likes talking about the game, which isn't something you find in everyone.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice foil for Eternal Envy with the theory crafting, isn't it?
Those guys love to talk about Dota. That was like one of my biggest complaints of being on a team with Aoi and Bulba is that those guys could have conversations about Dota for 14 hours a day. And me, I'm just like, this is exhausting. Like, this is too much.
First you praise it, and now you criticize. What's the limit?
No,
Somewhere between like 6 and 14.
That's why I'm saying he's a good match to play with Aoi and Eternal Envy, because they like to talk about the game so much. So it works.
Okay. Pre-draft predictions-wise, this is a tough one to call, isn't it? Or is it not? I don't know.
For draft expectations, yeah, I think so.
From an overall score point of view, if you were to predict it before we go into the draft, is it a 2-0 one way? Is it a 1-1? How does it work out?
I feel pretty confident saying 1-1. I think that's the highest probability of situations.
Is that based on what you've seen over the 2 days, or just what you feel
absolutely.
like the potential is of the teams?
Oh yeah, I mean, walking into the tournament blind, I would have definitely put my cards on Liquid for sure. My chips, that is. But I'm not really sure how it's going to go. It could go a lot of ways.
So draw for Kevin. Peter?
I'll take 2-0 Liquid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why the confidence?
I don't know. I've never been a huge believer in Eternal Envy.
Okay.
But no, I think Liquid, they got their win against EG earlier today, and even though it was on like the backs of their support player, which was strange and odd, I feel like they're still a really good team, and they just need to figure it out. I want Kuroki to not last pick a support hero. I feel like that would be a really great start for them.
Yeah, that's been a bit of an old one, isn't it? In terms of, I always think of the comparison is easy to make against Evil Geniuses. Yesterday they had a poor day. Liquid also had a poor day. Today the boys have come back in from Evil and had a great day and really picked themselves back up. But why have Liquid not been able to do something similar?
Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I know like EG, for example, has Fear and then their manager Phil, who are just like very good about keeping the team like emotionally sound. I know Liquid has Heen as their coach, and I don't know their manager, but maybe they just don't have the same support staff, or maybe maybe Kuroki isn't as inspired as Crit, or there's a ton of different things that it could be, and it could just be maybe they're having 2 bad days in a row. So maybe they get it together tonight and win their game tomorrow, and they could find themselves in a good spot going into the finals.
Okay. In terms of draft, Kevin, moving into it in a moment, we've seen a few odd. Well, we are in it right now. We've seen a few odd picks from Liquid here and there.
Yeah.
They haven't necessarily worked though. Like you feel like they're experimenting, and that's okay in the group stages. That you get a guaranteed place in the next round. But if there's a shot for them at the top 2, would you expect them to be picking a bit more standard? Some of the more comfort heroes, like EG, have gone back to comfort heroes today, and it's worked really well.
Yeah, that's maybe one thing to question on them. If they go for all these funky drafts, maybe they're taking too long to figure out the meta. They've gambled some of their chances away by have taken a worse placement in the groups. But yeah, maybe they'll solidify a bit here. It's towards the end now. It's time to pick something that works and stick to it.
And the Magnus is one of those things.
It worked last game they played.
Yeah, has worked relatively well.
Yeah, it worked. They won.
Yeah.
So that's a good start.
Yeah. I mean, it was that weird game with EG, wasn't it? Where both games were the other way around, weren't they? Liquid winning one that they lost, and then losing one that they won.
Exactly. Very emotional games, I like to call those.
Yeah.
As Dota can be.
Tough losses, tough wins.
Yeah, Dota's a hard game. It's not for the weak, that's for sure.
Absolutely. MP going with a Lifestealer opener. Securing it early. Sometimes doesn't always work, can be relatively easily countered.
Lifestealer won both games, right, in the EG Liquid series.
Yeah. One on either side.
And people falling back for Winter Wyvern a little bit to survive RP ganks.
That's not bad. It's interesting combo. It'd be cool if Liquid decided to do more of like a magic damage RP kind of thing, which is unlikely because Empower is mostly for melee physical. But
grab like Skywrath or something. Like go ahead, I guess.
Yeah, maybe, or like Disruptor or something that combos well with the RP that is magic base damage. But yeah, Skywrath could be cool. Lina is a hero that we've been seeing a lot. That works. That hero works great against Winter Wyvern. Crystal Maiden, lots of magic damage to follow up if somebody does get Cold Embrace.
It's definitely come back into the meta, isn't it?
Who? Crystal Maiden?
Yeah. Especially in these last 2 games. I
guess
feel
so.
like we've seen it an awful lot in the last 2 days.
We've seen a lot of it.
Yeah.
The root buff obviously was big. Her talents are okay.
Her talents are not good.
60. No, I'm just kidding. I think they're almost good. I think her problems are so deep that her talents seem bad. That's the problem. Like, super slow, low HP.
Where's the movement speed talent?
It's not there. The 120 GPM. That's how you solve that one.
That's not to like level 20 though, right?
Cast range 15. That's more or less movement speed.
Yeah, cast range is good. But the level 10 one is so bad. I don't even think people skill it at level 10.
Yeah, they don't.
It's like you get like the level 14, you skill your first talent, and then level 15, you get your second talent.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. but that's partially because their other skills are so good.
Yeah, that's true. Frostbite.
Some interesting bans on the board as well. We hadn't talked about the first round bans. Invoker again. I think that makes it 100%. Every team has banned Invoker against Team Liquid at this tournament.
Miracle's a player.
Yeah.
I like that Alchemist and Naga ban. Maybe see ourselves an entertaining game of Dota. Juggernaut ban, we could still
don't get too carried away.
Nah, I was looking forward to this series. I saw that on the schedule this morning that this series was the last one of the day, and being here in China, being a little jet lagged, it can be tough to make it all the way through the day.
Sure.
But I was excited for this game.
So the Jug ban as well.
Yeah, it's
hard to gank.
Yeah.
NP does like to roam, especially in the early game. They really value. We saw like they leave Lifestealer solo up against Centaur, and they might do a similar thing here up against the Magnus, and then move a lot with their supports.
Do love the intensity of both of the captains in either team at the moment as well.
This is a big match for both teams.
Yeah.
So probably an MSS Earthshaker, I'm guessing.
Him and Universe like the only two players to play offlane Shaker, I think, this tournament. Both have had a lot of success with it as well.
I like it this game. It's an easy way to interrupt freezing field, which sometimes can be a huge issue. It's a Lifestealer Bomb combo with Lockdown combined.
I saw it.
Which is cool.
NP has been playing a couple of games off of this stream, on the other stream. But I saw a bit of it, and MSS was flying around with the Aghanims Earthshaker. Pretty cool.
Does he need like a dual lane to make his lane more viable though?
He's
like
he's a
block.
tough hero to duel lane with because he doesn't offer much in a duel lane. I think he could. I mean, they could still do like Monkey King.
Very curious they pick Legion when their opponents already have Wyvern. That's like the counter.
Yeah, it is. It is really nice, and it's also that means we're most likely going to see Magnus on the mid lane for Miracle.
Okay.
Or GH. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe we got a new mid player.
Yeah, they have mixed it up
Miracle
today.
Crystal Maiden, 4th position.
Well, we've seen support Miracle Sand King today, and GH took what was that? I think he took the Naga, didn't he, in the mid?
Yeah, that'd be a treat.
Yep.
I'm down for some Miracle Crystal Maiden. No, that seems pretty unlikely, I think.
I don't know if that's his hero.
Yeah, I think it's Naga's like a particular hero that it's all about like microing your illusions and cutting waves and playing the game very differently than you would other heroes. So it makes sense that there's it makes a little bit of sense that there's a different player that does it.
Yeah,
even though I think
Naga specialist.
Yeah, even though I think Miracle's Naga is very, very good, but GH's was truly impressive.
So secondary support here for NP. They don't have the best. Okay, yeah, this is a pretty classic NP pick. Mostly because Elder Titan is really the synergy hero. Lowers armor, lowers magic resistance. The downside though is the armor reduction auras around his base hero, not around his spirits. So if there's like Lifestealer bombs, it's maybe not the most effective. It can work really well with Earthshaker, I guess, and Winter Wyvern, but maybe they can do like Wyvern ultis into Elder Titan ultis or something. But
it's not a bad teamfight disruptor. In terms of like you can find the Magnus with your spirit, cancel his blink, and then you can stomp on top of the RP.
Or the Legion duel or something like that. But he's definitely weak early game in lane, so I feel like against Legion, CM might have some issues. And Ember Spirit kind of providing a lot more problems as well.
If you kind of like do the thing on Elder Titan where you hit 2 neutral camps and then you can run into lane, you can get like plus like 80, 90 damage, and it makes it a bit better in lane. But yeah, it's definitely not the strongest laner.
And even when you do that, you still only have like 1 or 2 armor, so
that's true.
It's kind of iffy, and most Elder Titans go boots, so it's just not the best regen, not the best survivability. You can hit okay. The hero just got nerfed so many times. It's like the old ogre, basically.
Yeah, that's something I noticed this tournament too, is 1.37 is drafting for them as well. Instead of Eternal Envy. So a little less work for Jackie Mao. Let's see, we need Eternal Envy hero for mid, and then we need a support hero for Kuroki. Or I'm kidding.
So why do you dislike the support last pick? Just because you feel like their cores get countered?
I just don't. I think your last pick should be used on a hero that is gonna win you the game.
Yeah, you prefer a mid or a carry there, don't you?
Yeah, mid or carry for sure. 1 or 2 position. In this game, like, you should pick something that's good against Lifestealer. Ember Spirit's okay. Legion Commander's okay. Magnus, not particularly great. Crystal made an awful. There's a first pick Lifestealer on MP, and they don't really have any heroes that are very good against him. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
That's okay. Kill the other heroes.
Yeah, that's a good strategy too. A Winter Wyvern's not like. I mean, he's set up to do relatively well. A lot of magic damage from Crystal Maiden and Ember Spirit, but Legion Commander duels would be tough.
And they're still banning here, actually. Ursa's still in the game, I guess. Don't know if I like Ursa. It's okay, actually.
I wonder if they will pick.
Oh, no, it's a support, I forgot.
They're joking around, they're smiling.
They seem
Oh,
quite
that's
happy,
why.
don't they?
Oh, they brought it back.
Oh, okay.
It's back.
Croaky is out of
Against
control.
a Lifestealer?
Croaky's-
Against a Lifestealer?
Croaky's out of control. I'm calling it here.
Against a Lifestealer?
He's lost his mind.
Lost his
gotta be
lone
something.
druid mind.
I don't know.
Maybe this is that. I heard that Matoma Man was going like range lone druid to start and then transitioning to Radiance and
Really?
melee.
So who's playing? Is it a GH support Magnus? Jungle LC?
I've heard he has a good Magnus.
I'm sure he's got a great Magnus. He's an amazing. A lot of people have a great Magnus.
Let's see if the lone druid works. I'm not sold.
Okay, well, we said they would stay away from Funky, but they haven't.
Spectre.
And we've got a Spectre
These
on
drafts are
MP.
crazy.
What on earth is going
Spectre
on?
is kind of people have been thinking that Spectre as like a possible like lone druid counter, because you can like get on top of him. He's almost lone druid's almost like a sniper these days, so that's kind of nice. But still, like was it Spectre mid or Lifestealer mid or
Don't know yet.
who knows?
We're going to find out, and we're going to find out right now as we send you over to our commentary team for the final series of the day. Game 1 is upon us between Team Liquid and MP.
Thank you very much, Paul. And indeed, we just heard from the panel, PPD as well, a bit kind of flabbergasted with what's come up here. These final picks from both sides, NP with the Spectre, and Liquid, as they said, bringing back the Lone Druid, a hero that we've seen everyone pretty much avoid gods. Well, what's going on?
Perhaps we're going to see some good old-fashioned, old-school Spirit Bear Lone Druid. I feel like the range Lone Druid has received nerf after nerf and isn't all too viable, but this may be a game. It's not exactly amazing against Lifesteal because he does just chomp away at your bear, but the lanes from MP are going to be the interesting thing, I feel. I mean, from both teams. You've got a 4th-position Magnus or LC. One of those heroes is going jungle, so it's right from the get-go very greedy from Liquid. From MP, they've got a very unconventional mid laner. I've seen Envy play the mid Lifestealer at least once or twice before, so that was not like a first for them, but that's still like, it's like not very conventional. It's not exactly what you'd expect from NP in such an important match.
Wasn't it Envy who played the mid Spectre in a game?
Possibly. Wouldn't surprise me.
Have I seen him do that? Is he?
He's on Spectre.
He's on the Spectre. Yeah, I think it was on one of his streams, or was it a pro game? I've definitely seen him do it.
He's that mid anti-mage.
The mid-am, yeah.
All kinds of weird stuff.
Pick up a poor man's and be ready to go. We've got it all here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Spectre. Eternal Envy, baffling people once more, and it could be brilliant. We saw actually personally maybe some of the people watching stream too earlier, MP's earlier game, where they already pulled out some crazy stuff. We saw Aoi come out with an Enchantress, which it caught us all off guard, and it certainly caught IGV. Spoilers, if you haven't watched that game, close your ears. It was a stomp. And it's an entertaining stomp of that as well. I would go back and watch that show, especially if you're an MP fan. But for now, of course, you want to stick here and get ready to watch this one. As wow, here we go. We're just getting ourselves ready for the matchup. As we'll be able to introduce both of the lineups here. We can see Liquid preparing themselves. And Liquid, in terms of what we've got, what the panel certainly expected. GH will be playing the Magnus. Miracle on the Amber Spirit, Matuma Man on his Lone Druid, Mind Control on the Core Legion. And Kuroki playing what's going to be, it seems like that very kind of solo support already. I mean, Magnus, GH needs items, it feels. Like Kuroki, he's going to have a pretty much 4 cores that he's carrying this game as the support on the backlines.
That was kind of how the last game they won worked, where Miracle was playing 4-position Sand King, GH was mid Naga, and like there was Kuro down at like 3-4k net worth, while everyone on his team was at like 15 to 30k net worth. So it seems like the Liquid order has been readjusted. Kuro supporting the world. It kind of feels like a lot of teams have just adjusted how like player roles fit in their team. Like we've seen from MP, you mentioned the AUI Enchantress, where it's like, well, why is AUI playing a jungler? We saw it with Liquid, where they put GH in the mid lane out of nowhere. So very kind of unconventional stuff, not like in terms of drafts, in terms of players, where they're going, what heroes they're playing, and it's just going to continue to be strange. AUI's got a poor man's shield. I wonder if he's going to be like going some off lane. Lifestealer even. They've been putting MSS a lot in the safe lane, where we saw the safe lane Magnus a couple of games.
Yeah, in the earlier series today, yeah.
It seems like they don't. I mean, is the top lane really the safe lane for Dire anymore? You've got the Shrine down bottom, so it was talked about a lot with the new patch, like where is the true safe lane these days, with some of the map changes. There's jungle camps, there's a Shrine you can play around, there's the secret shop down in that bottom lane, so maybe the Dire off lane is a better place to send a Lifestealer in certain games.
And once again, kind of going back to really the Lone Druid, I mean, gods, this was a hero that was in an amazing place. Everyone was picking it. It was first top tier picks and bans, then it got hit, and then it got hit again to the point where, as I said, everyone's pretty much avoiding it. What is it that makes this hero so hard to play, do you feel, in the pros' eyes at the moment? Because of it.
Mostly it's the uptime of the Rabbit. That was the biggest nerf the hero received throughout all of the various nerfs and stuff he got. You know, definitely some really absurd things. The -50 became -40 second respawn time, but Rabbit uptime used to be 100%. Now it's like, what, 30 out of 45? I don't know.
Do the math.
So 2/3.
45 divided by fine is 9 times by 20 is 180. I don't know where I'm going with this.
2/3 uptime. Yeah.
2/3 uptime.
Yeah, so it's not 100%. that's all I know. And yeah, you're not constantly Rabbit. It means you have to pick and choose when you use it to fight. If it's about to wear off, you're probably telling your team, back, my Rabbit's about to. When Rabbit's not up, you're not all that scary as a Lone Druid. You don't have that super movement speed and all that. So it does kind of change the hero quite a bit. And we'll see if that's going to continue to affect him.
Straight away, 40-37 in mind control to find each other as they both attempt for the warding mission to maintain control of this top lane. SVG gives Kuroki a pat on the back, as he himself did manage to head over, did get the Observer ward down. Kuro, of course, also placing his towards that bottom rune spot for Liquid.
So it will be just the straight-up Magnus jungle, it seems. Iron Talon is there for GH, and no big surprise. This is like again, greedy approach, but something that NP don't really have roamers. Just, I guess Elder Titan with boots could theoretically roam and try and disrupt it. If you find him on low HP, you can maybe get some cheap free kills with the boots movement speed advantage, try and snipe some last hits as well. But it's dangerous invading enemy jungles because that Shrine there is a heal, but also a TP location. So often we'll see like a CM or someone just carry a TP, and if someone like an Elder Titan can test the Magnus jungle, CM TP's in, there's your first blood, ET's dead. So
I'm intrigued as well on the topic of the Magnus jungle. Is it better? Is it just more efficient? Why are we not seeing the Legion in the jungle and the Magnus in the lane? Is there a reason why you are going this way round than the other if you're Liquid here?
Yeah, the Legion's a lot stronger in lane. Jungle capacity-wise, Legion perhaps a little bit better, I guess you'd normally say. But Legion in the offlane is very durable, very hard to kill. He's got a lot of good defensive tools. He gets a ton of movement speed from the overwhelming odds. He's able to purge off things like open wounds. So the hero in the offlane is incredibly resilient. We've seen a lot from LFY. It's Jizing's most played hero, and he does incredibly well in the first 5-10 minutes at getting stuff out of the lane. Magnus, you can actually zone the hero. He's a bit squishier, doesn't quite have the same stats to play around, and doesn't have the same great time there.
Interesting as well to note, of course, it is indeed Envy playing the mid, but MP switching the lanes around. Envy up on the top lane on his own at the moment. Aoi is in the mid, did have the Wyvern come over across to help him. So who's this trying to dodge who? Who's getting the lanes that they want, do you feel?
MP kind of set these lanes up as far as they're concerned. Envy went for a really odd play with that pull through, but he gets it to the neutral camp, so he's going to be able to theoretically farm the neutrals as well as this creep wave, although he has to hit the last hits as well. Meanwhile,
oh, look at this.
yeah, that's kind of what I talked about. SVG, you want to come in and mess with the Magnus jungle? Well, Kuro's going to be there, and potential first blood could come your way, but with boots, he will get out of there.
Yeah, very, very speedy indeed, as they do manage to get him out of their hair and get a bit of space for GH as he desperately tries to kick off this jungling. But of course, attention drawn here is going to kind of free up the lanes a bit more for the rest of Liquid. We can see in the mid lane already just the aggression coming out here from the other Spirit. And SVG actually this time around bringing GH down low, but they've got the Shrine. Kuroki coming with the wraparound, and this time SVG's boots aren't going to allow him to walk that off. As first blood goes to the Magnus, and that is exactly what you don't want to happen. You may have stopped him from hitting creeps for the first minute, but you've given him first blood.
It's so nice when things kind of happen how you expect them to. And that's the CM presence that Elder Titan had to respect and didn't. He goes in and invents down. He can just go right back knowing that the Magnus has used the Shrine. Without that Shrine up, it's a lot easier to continue being aggressive. And
Oh, and he does. He's straight there.
Yeah, he's not put off. Like, you die like that, yeah, it's like, man, I didn't want to give up first blood, but you're also like, well, suddenly I'm a lot stronger because there's no Shrine to worry about.
GH having to skewer himself away. Got incredibly low there as the Spirit got thrown out. But will get himself back to safety.
Still got to be concerned. You're like a level 1 ET just running around the map. You got to find levels somewhere at some point. You want to get at least the level 2 stomp. Perhaps be finding that from some of these bounty runes. But yeah, very unconventional laning setup for NP. The mid life stealer does all right against the Ember, but the Spectre's kind of like a solo safe lane Spectre. Use that early pull to the neutrals to help get some extra farm. But since then is going to lose very badly in a 1v1 against
I was going to
the
say, this can't be a pleasant lane once Mind Control's got a few levels. It's going to be very hard for Envy.
It's like peak of terribleness with the LC phase boots. Once the phase boots are there for LC, good luck going anywhere near the hero.
Mid lane again, Owie, moving in on Miracle with the open wounds. I mean, you can kind of do this, I guess, as a life stealer. Trade it, and
he's got out again.
He's got to be careful, as you mentioned earlier. Maybe lack of respect here, really, for Kuroki.
There's a skewer, so TP is just not an option.
He could try for the deny. He's not going to get it. GH picking up a second kill, thanks to SVG. Pretty much this fast food order takeaway delivery service here he's providing. As GH certainly getting fed in the first 3 minutes.
That one a bit unfortunate because it came as a result of a haste rune, which he didn't have eyes on, only Radiant Vision at that bottom room, but nonetheless, you go aggressive deep in the enemy jungle, you're going to get punished here and there, and again, still level 1 at this point. Yeah, look, he's actually going to take over top lane while Envy jungles. That's interesting lane development. Definitely, to me, suggests NP's... This isn't like the game we saw earlier where Envy was Alk and he left the mid lane to the Winter Wyvern to go jungle to give the lane to a support. No, this is way too early for your lanes to break apart. This is very much a reaction to SVG's roaming
mid lane
failing.
Miracle falling incredibly low here as Howie. Nearly able to take him down. One more swipe would have done it, but he couldn't quite get there in range.
So, yeah, the Jungle Spectre, not the fastest or best jungler, but Envy will make do with what he can here. Has 2 points in the Desolate to try and speed things up a little bit, but this is not really the ideal place to be running your Spectre. And considering this was the 5th pick, it's not like... you feel like you fifth pick a hero and you should have like a good plan or lane for it. You should know that hero. If you're fifth picking a Spectre, you should be like, this Spectre game is going to be great. Like, it's going to have a good lane. Or if it's not going to have a good lane, it hard counters something. And yeah, it's pretty good against the lone Druid being able to get on top of him, but you just picked a Spectre in a game where your lanes are getting destroyed. So I'm a bit surprised by the fact they don't seem to have a clear plan for how to lane this Spectre. I guess the end result is not having a plan means they're sending it to the jungle.
And one of the lanes that we're still kind of yet to talk about is that bottom lane, as we just saw Matuma Man very much getting free farm. As you mentioned, across the board, lanes just looking very, very strong for Liquid. MSS is able to find a little bit. He's got 14 CS. He's getting the levels down there, but he's just unable to do anything in terms of slowing down this lone Druid in this laning stage.
Yeah, Liquid greedy with they had 2 junglers at various points. Kuro was jungling somewhere, and GH was jungling somewhere else, and they're winning the lanes. They're winning lanes while jungling.
And top lane, they're just going to walk in here for the duel. It will be successful as Mind Control gets himself the tasty +10, and SVG really struggling to find a place this game so far with his 3rd death.
I feel like I've never actually seen a team win all 3 lanes while having 2 junglers. Like, this is pretty absurd. They're not even really roamers. Like, the CM are perhaps a bit of a roamer, but Magnus is a straight-up greedy jungler.
You can't lose the lanes if you're not in them, gods.
Well, there's solo heroes in them. They just don't need supports to win their lane. That's the crazy thing. They've got 3 solo heroes. I mean, that's the thing with their draft. Legion, Lone Druid, these are heroes that excel in 1v1 matchups.
Oh.
And no duel to kill him, but there's phase boots. There's a CM Nova into Frostbite and Envy.
He should be. I mean, he's got the backup here. Oh my goodness! He's not fine. The nuke is too good from Mind Control, and he gets himself a double kill as well as they clean up 1437. Oh dear.
I mean,
oh dearie me, David.
yeah, Peter was saying Kuro's lost his mind, but whatever he's on, it's
I
he
want
needs to
some.
go. Yeah, he needs to go crazy a bit more
This is
often because
crazy.
this. I don't know. It seems like MP are allowing it to happen is what is bizarre about it. But that's always been the MP kind of motif with the laning stage early game is they're very greedy. They try and.
Oh, hello. Surprise,
on.
surprise, Matumba man.
Not
There's a lifestealer in here, and just can't get him off it.
Barely
So
got the
MP gets himself the first kill on the board with a super surprise gank down there.
Yep.
Lifestealer and Envy turning up.
They need to get something happening. Every time Haunt's up, I feel like they just got to gank as much as Envy doesn't even have phase boots. He's close to them, but you got to find picks somewhere on the map. You can't just try and if you're just trying to passively farm your jungle back in the game, you're going to farm slower. You're going to get picked off one by one by Legion duels. So every time Envy's got Haunt, he's probably going to be telling his team, go find a pick off for me. I'll Haunt in. Even if you're trading kills, you got to do something here. Very early use of the Infest as well, but. You gotta try and salvage this absolutely atrocious laning stage. Mind Control's gonna have one of the fastest phase armlets for a Legion offlane you can imagine, and everything looking very good for the Liquid side, even with that kill onto the Lone Druid.
I mean, top lane, you see SVG, he's maybe thinking of getting into some sort of a position, but the 2 of them, they surely don't have the firepower to bring down this Legion. It's absolutely massive for this stage of the game.
Legion wants them. He's like, I'm considering a duel on MSS probably, but SVG is there for the stomp as a dual combo breaker.
Kuroki in the neighborhood as well, certainly ready to help out Mind Control if the occasion arises.
1437, sneaks some bounty runes, but Miracle with the danger rune, the haste. Well, the haste picked up. This is a great rune to get an Ember 8 minutes in. He'll be fishing for kills, and he knows someone's around his jungle. The bounty rune went missing, and I think they just had eyes on Wyvern.
Oh, meanwhile, top lane gods, they do end up getting the opportunity to close in for another duel. And 301 victories now, Mind Control racking up on the Arcana, second one this game.
Yikes.
He's an experienced man, and he is having probably one of the best starts I've seen Legion have in a while.
This is insanely fat Legion commander. No one's going to be able to really fight him. I'm very good at just like going head to head with a life stealer with when you've got that fast armlet. He's not going to be afraid of AOI at all. Being able to armlet toggle through any kind of damage if he's ever low against the life stealer, and he should. Yeah, he's got 9-minute armlet phase with another 500 gold. This is really bad for NP. So the solution's going to be just continuing to gank with Haunt, infest ganks. As much as neither Lifestealer nor the Spectre has like any kind of items that you'd normally expect them to have before they start rotating, like no armlet yet, just phase boots, no urn or anything on Envy. You've got
look
to
at
make
this.
moves.
This is one of the Lifestealer carries you don't always think about. The Haunt infest bomb.
Probably asking for an initiation down bottom again. Matu's.
Envy hiding it. Miracles. I know.
That's another dual kill. You betcha. 30
Meanwhile, we're
damage.
watching this kind of fancy footwork in the mid lane as Envy just hiding in the trees. Miracle knew.
Can't really kill Miracle. I haven't got the damage. He'll just remnant away.
Yep.
He wants his teammates to initiate down bottom. Probably saying like, get a stomp on Matu if possible, but a lot of wasted time right now. As Envy walks back, probably to shrine up, and
Yeah, this is painful moments for both Envy and Aoi. It's like it's your 2 cores not getting anything done unless they can find a kill.
they want the big kill. They want the Legion.
Oh, that is. I mean, it is a big one. It's a tough one.
Yeah. MSS is going solo smoke, looking to initiate, but seems Mind Control is very aware of what's up. Either that or he's just going for a little shopping mission, but no, he's backing off altogether.
Mid lane.
He's gonna top lane Mind Control has walked into MSS now.
And okay, there we have. There's the jump in. Have they got the damage to bring him down though? With the Echo Slam, they're throwing everything at him. Mind Control just turns, brings Envy down low. Can he get himself out with the arm that toggles? Here we go, boys and girls. He walks it off. Horn, Infest, Echo Slam. He doesn't give a damn. And now here comes Miracle with the wraparound. Takes down Envy. Matuma Man's turned up as well on this top lane. They'll look to run down Aoi. They've got the route. They do have an RP if they feel it's necessary. And they'll almost certainly continue to dive this. Kuro's turned up, the whole gang of Liquid ready to finish off MP as they bring down Aoi. MSS, he's in a hell of a lot of trouble as well. GH, is he going to go green? No, GH, he's a sensible boy. He's not doing any diving today. They'll let the Earthshaker live. But Aoi and Envy, we pretty much witnessed them just spend a whole 2 minutes doing nothing and then dying.
Yep. They kind of have to go for a big kill. It just seemed like the safer kill was to find the lone druid, which is where, like, even just Winter Wyvern trying to initiate with an Arctic Burn Slow may have been enough. But both kills are very hard. Lone Druid has Savage Roar. Legion Commander has the early Armlet. Once he hits all 3 heroes with overwhelming odds, he gets a huge movement speed buff, so he's going to outrun you. He purges off the open wounds. You had to stop that one Armlet. I mean, they didn't have a way to stop him Armlet toggling is the thing, so they just had to have enough damage to burst him before he could Armlet toggle. Once he gets it off, game over, gank's done, you're not getting the kill, and Liquid, very quick to respond, have well and truly punished you for making that move. And yeah, Liquid will start taking more objectives. They kind of know that everything's going well for them in this game. Midas Rush for GH on Magnus, like, why not? You're crushing the lanes, you could get a blink, but you don't need a blink on him. Even Mind Control's going straight into a Sanj, more survivability.
The BMS and Y build.
Look at that. Yeah, Adam's received some buffs.
It has, yeah. Oh, it's what, like a 5% extra on the
proc rate,
the proc rate.
It's like gone up like 20% or something over a couple
I think it's
of patches.
40% now at the moment.
Yeah, it used to be like 25 or something.
Oh yeah, Kuroki up and out with his little old magic. And yeah, no way that MP can get in the neighborhood for this one. It's an absolutely free Roshan here for Liquid, as they have 4 of the highest net worth heroes in this game. Only Kuroki left behind, and he's already doing better than, well, MSS, the offlaner of MP.
Just such a different MP to what we saw in there earlier 2-0 today.
It seemed like they used all their mojo in that game one against RGV. Do go and watch it, you know, if you are an MP fan.
Don't watch this game.
Yes.
Go watch the other game.
Go watch the other game.
Just
go
tune
watch
off
the
right
replays.
now and fire up some replays. Yep. It'll be a much prettier sight.
But you never know. This is MP. This could all be part of the plan.
You
fifth pick Spectre. You lose the early game. You turn it around in the mid. You win the late game. He's got a relic. He's accidentally queued up Radiance. He meant to go for Rapier Envy. That's what we need to see. Horn and Rapier.
It's funny, like, getting like these small glimpses into his mind. Earlier he had like a Mask of Madness queued up, and I'm just like, he was considering buying it as like a farming / ganking item. And I'm just like, you kind of get these small little nitbits where you're just like, okay, so that's what he's thinking about, but he doesn't end up doing half of his crazy ideas. He doesn't commit to. The other half, when he does do it, you get to see them in full action.
Well, here's the push coming in, and of course they do have that vision on the high ground MP, so they saw the positioning, but it's just a question of what they can actually do to stop this.
He's got a free farm lane. He's like, sweet, let's just ditch some towers. But AUI's up there, ready to infest and try fight. This is 5 Liquid heroes, even with an infest. I don't see this fight going well for them.
Miracle's got eyes on SVG on the back line, straight in. Here he goes with the Flame Guard. SVG will try and juke him out, and in fact, the juke's successful. Miracle getting outplayed.
Meanwhile, Shaker and Wyvern, they're going to poke their heads in. 1437 does not run into the kind of hero. Okay, that's a good curse.
Yeah, that will be Kuroki out and down. That's going to be the captain gone. Jump forward from Miracle, though. They'll look to try and punish 1437, but the corner brace is there. GH with the RP onto 2. MSS in the midst of it all with the Echo Slam, bringing Mind Control down low. Now Aoi and Envy turning up, going to work. Can't pipe through Mind Control's health regen. He'll be able to get himself out there as he heads away. Just 1 for 1 at the moment. Roots there, though, onto MSS. GH and Matuma Man closing back in. They'll make sure they get the favorable trade. Liquid do come out on top of numbers, and again, that is MP blowing the ults to try and do something to stop Liquid's momentum. I mean, at the same time, of course, Liquid did use the RP, but it's fine for them. They're still in position. They're still ready to finish off this tier 2, and they'll get it. MP with no answers here on this bottom lane.
Lost in Aegis, but that was a lot of big teamfight ultimates coming out of NP. All 5 of them, to be exact. Well, not really. Infest like big teamfight ultimates, but It puts all their team fight on cooldown for a bit. Liquid can fall back and farm. They get the tower they came from. And their item progression is getting kind of crazy at this point with the Boots of Travel already completed on Miracle. Going for the Battle Fury build. He wants to have some physical damage.
Oh.
Mind Control's completed his
Old
SMY. GH has Midas and already completed the Blink to follow it. Matu's, I mean, straight Mjolnir. Like, you get that Mjolnir nice and early on. When heroes are still squishy, that static charge proc does a lot of damage.
Top lane Mind Control, eyeing up his target. He's going to waltz in, and yeah, with the Boots to Travel on Miracle. Can they burst him down in time for the duel win? Doesn't look like they can. And in fact, oh, A up.
Okay.
Undercover agent. Yeah. As they'll wait. Then they'll wait.
The Rage will be close to coming back up, I believe.
Here we go. Come on out, Owie. We know you're in there. He'll go for the TP out, and oh, he's a smart man. No way to stop that. Owie gets away with his life intact.
Yeah, it was nice kill attempt. If he doesn't have a creep to infest there, they likely kill him after the duel. He wasn't going to die during it with the Rage up, but...
I'm going to try and make a go here from Matuma Man.
Okay.
Great ultimate, in fact, from SVG. Matuma Man does roll them back, but the fish is there from MSS just in time. And now Kuroki lining this up. MSS will go for the TP. He's going to make it, though. A skewer from GH cleans him up from the backside. And MP will lose too, but they do get Matuma Man. Definitely, you know, these core kills are exactly what MP wants to get. But each time it is coming at a cost.
The trades are... two supports for a core is fine for MP. It's the fact they're losing towers and everyone on Liquid's farming. Spectre at least finding some alone time in the enemy jungle. Gets up to like 2k gold. It's just such a big jump to Radiance. This is probably the biggest hurdle in playing like heroes like Spectre or anyone that needs to buy Radiance is that the build-up is terrible. Like, it's so hard to get that. That's why only like Alchemist is like probably one of the few Radiance heroes that is played these days, because it's one of the few heroes that can safely farm it in the jungle at a very fast rate. And Spectre is not one of the heroes that particularly excels in flash farming, so it's going to be a slow climb to that, and you kind of just have to wonder like how much further ahead can Liquid be before that Radiance is even done? Can they even take a lane of Rax before Radiance is done? Will they win the game before Radiance? It's still an item that Spectre feels like we're not going to win without, so there's no point getting like a Blade Mail or Diffusal. Perhaps if like a high ground push comes and he's got like 3k gold, he'll just say, screw it, I got to defend, let's get a Blade Mail. But for now, he wants to at least try and go for Radiance. Oh, Miracle's found them. Ooh.
No.
Oh, Miracle didn't even acknowledge Eternal Envy.
Wow, BM there. He's like, look at this Spectre. Oh.
Well, Envy just wants to be noticed.
On top lane GH. It's got that blink minus. I was going to say, was looked to be off cooldown for a little bit too long for my liking.
And more than anything, like if Spectre farms a Radiance this game without Liquid taking any like major objectives, namely Rax, don't think it matters, because you've got 4 cores who are going to still be more farm than him. This lineup can easily beat a Radiance farm Spectre with farm across 4 heroes. Like, you've got Magnus, who can theoretically go for a Silver Edge Lay if you want to break that Spec passive. Even without it, you've got big team fight lockdown, an initiation where you can just blink RP Spectre, take her out of the fight. Ember scales with magic damage very well against Spectre because it's on a BKB carry. Lone Druid's going to do plenty of damage output as well. Legion, you've got Jewel for the lockdown. Plenty of survivability and mind control. I just don't think this lineup cares if Spectre could have a Radiance now and they wouldn't care all that much because of how farmed everyone on their lineup is.
There's a smoke there from Liquid. Trying to see if they could get in position for an RP dual follow-up. And NP are indeed just playing very reserved at the moment, keeping it safe, keeping up on the high ground, just farming the waves as they come in. And that, of course, is giving Liquid pretty much free reign of the entirety of this map.
Yeah, Liquid's farming enemy jungle, both enemy jungles. Not really farming their own jungle just because it's such a passive place to be farming, although Matu's getting some pieces of it here and there. Meanwhile, NP's getting tiny scraps of farm. The lead just continues to get bigger and bigger. You're looking at over 1,000 net worth per minute advantage going their way. 20 minutes in, and the net worth lead is over 20k. That's like one of the biggest kind of stomps you can really see.
This is, I mean, it was kind of weird that we're seeing the opposite side of the spectrum here, because in that, you know, for the MP versus IGV game, we were like, this is the biggest stomp we've seen on DAC, and then MP were like, no, we'll show you a bigger one. And
then they picked 5th pick Spectre and jungled it.
But I feel there's still ways they can come back into this, gods. You can't lose entire faith in MP here. Okay. Envy's close to that relic.
You can choose to believe that, Owen. You're allowed to believe whatever you want.
I believe that every game is equal, gods, and up until that the ancient falls, each team has a 50% chance to win.
Totally, you know, they're not out of it yet.
Balanced gameplay, you know, all bless the Ice Toad.
Comeback gold and stuff like that. I'm sure Dota, no one really knows what happens in 7.0x patches anymore.
No.
Win a fight, kill some core heroes. Suddenly, Spectre's got not just Radiance but a Manta, and yeah, it's not over. That's for sure. Like Dota's a very weird game in that way, where even the biggest of leads can be lost. But
GH was coming around there, but they have that sentry out. They knew he was out. They'll know he has that Shadow Blade that he's just picked up as well now. So again, MP, they know to play even more safe, even more secure, keeping away, and they've got to be careful. There's DD rune on this Ember. Certainly, I'd like to have something happen, but yeah, you've got Envy. He's getting towards that Radiance.
Yeah, he's getting there. Looks like he'll farm it up. He's farming with AUI just because, imagine if a team fight breaks out, they want to have that Infest Bomb. Where's he? I haven't seen this Radiant Ward on the high ground. I feel like there's a sentry right by it. Come on, MP. There we go. Walk by it.
There we go. Well, here we have at the moment the comparison. It's not actually too... I mean, Matsuma Man, to be fair, he used to be the one that has been targeted successfully by him.
AUI's winning on kill damage, kill participation, you know. He was doing okay there in some categories.
Oh, well, I mean, he was. But now he's in a lot of trouble. Miracle and Matsuma Man, Kuroki surrounding him. He gets rooted up by the bear. Now he's down.
Take the small victories, I guess. As
space created, you know. MV moving across.
There's
very,
no jungle
very
to
close.
farm here, though. He's probably like, sweet, I found a jungle.
He's got a bounty ring, guys.
Nice, at least there's something.
That is a win. When you move over there onto the enemy half, and you're like, well, they didn't take it.
You just got to stand here for 30 seconds, wait for it to wait for the camps to respawn. He's going to go to the other jungle. There's no jungle to farm.
Oh, hello! MSS turns up in town, and hello, Matsuma Man. He's straight to the graveyard. He's out for 50. Miracle, though, his Jimmys have been rustled. He wants to look for some revenge. He's straight in, diving the base. Looking for SVG. Blinks forward, will get the kill as he picks up a second on the sideline. MSS just holding close to that cliff wall, praying that they don't see him, but it's not going to work. Miracle jumps in, breaks down the trees with the remnants, and 4 are suddenly dead on NP. Liquid, they had their boy Matsuma Man covered, and they made sure that they got their vengeance.
Yeah, Matu's kind of been the punching bag this game in that he's pushed down towers, but often if the few kills MP have gotten, they've been key kills, have been when they've gone. He's 3 of the 4 deaths, but every time he's died, his team have gotten a lot in return.
Oh dear.
Kill's not done. Sad game to be a support, as yeah.
A supporter of MP.
Not sure where you stand now, but I feel like this game may be getting harder and harder for MP to actually realistically win. Is there still a chance, Owen?
How's Envy doing on the Radiance?
800 gold towards the recipe. 500 away.
It's closer than no 100 gold. Yeah. Matsuma Man, he's chomping on a shrine. And
being a ranged bear, he wants some more HP.
As you mentioned, I'm sure Matu's attitude to this game will pretty much be like, right boys, they kill me again. I don't know why he's northern. He's from Finland, that's up north.
The general
north.
laissez-faire sound in your voice there, I very much resonated. Like that sounds like something Matu would say. You know, he's just like, oh,
he's like, whatever.
I did my job.
Why they gotta kill me?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, Liquid, after a rough start to the group stage, will take the wins however they come. I mean, this is a stomp. The game against EG took a bit of an unusual approach with the GH mid Naga, but this is a much more dominant performance from Liquid. The kind of performance people expect, because Liquid probably came in as one of the tournament favorites.
For sure, yeah. I think this is, day one, people would have expected Liquid to provide something like this, and as we saw, they just had quite a rocky start. I mean, a lot of teams as well. It's been very interesting so far, DAC. We've seen some very interesting results in these group stage games.
That's a 32k gold lead or something. Yeah, okay. All right, this game is going to only get uglier before it gets prettier for NP. I think the prettiest thing about this game for NP will probably be the GG letters coming out soon.
Radiance is done, gods. This is where it all changes. 25 minutes in considering. You know,
it's not the fact that it's not where Envy is in terms of farm. It's where Liquid are.
It's 420. You know, it's time for Envy to blaze it up. He's got the kit for it. And up top, let's see what we can do. Well, 1437 is going to be out. The Haunts used, jump in from MSS with the Echo Slam, bring a mind control down low, but it's not enough to kill him. Miracles on the back lines, chains onto 2 remnants out. They have managed to put the edges on mind control. In fact, a huge ult from SVG clips through Matuma Man, cleaving him apart, but there's GH in with the RP. Miracle cleans up as he picks up the triple, and GG is called. It's all too much for MP, and Liquid with definitely the biggest ult we saw. We saw one earlier with MP IGV, and as I said, MP wanted to prove that it could be better there, as Liquid were just allowed to go absolutely ham in that game.
Yeah, it's crazy just how much they dominate an early game with a greedy lineup. I mean, a big part of that is you've got such high-skilled players on your team. I mean, you joke about all the 9 MMRs and stuff, but that's where you can put players like Matu in a 1v1 or a 1v2. Miracle, Ember versus Lifesteal, a bit of an unusual matchup, but he's not a player that's going to get thrown off by that. Mind Control, incredibly good performance in the offlane, and I think more than anything it was SVG roaming around, giving up kills to the junglers. Like, you want to contest junglers, you don't give them kills, because that means they're getting not just the jungle farm, but they're getting hero kills as well. He was just like giving them extra bonus gifts in that jungle. So yeah, Liquid just stomped this game. That was brutal.
Absolutely. One of those games then people just want to wipe the slate clean, come into game 2 with a clear head, and yeah, not really a lot much more that could be said about that one. I'm sure the panel will have a few words, and I'll be interested to hear on their take on how well and why Liquid were able to perform as well as they did with this draft, with Lone Druid of all things. Back to you, Paul.
Good questions, all of them, Owen, and they'll all be answered by Peter and Kevin on the panel in just a moment. Just a reminder for you, we are in our final series of the day. We'll bring you some updates, of course, at the end of the day in terms of league tables. Now, we'll talk about that when we get a moment before the next draft, but let's talk about a very dominant performance from Liquid. That's much more like the Liquid we know.
I don't know if we can look too much into that game. That was quite possibly the worst laning setup I've seen of the whole tournament.
I was trying to be kind.
Yeah, it was.
But feel free to be brutal about it, because that's what we're here for, right?
It was bad.
Yeah,
the lane
there's nothing you
setup
can say about that,
was no
there?
good. I mean, all their matchups were crap. Lone Druid, one of his weaknesses is he can be lane pressured, but he's actually quite a good laner in 1v1 matchups. Mid was Ember Spirit, he's a good laner. Legion Commander, another good laner. That's like 3, and it was like Earthshaker versus Lone Druid. That's terrible. Like Lifestealer did fine. I think AOI did okay in the mid lane, but.
Yeah.
Spectre versus Legion is just about as bad as it gets.
Why would they do that, Peter?
It's just too much theory craft. That's the problem with this team.
Yeah.
It's the problem with. It's like one of the problems with this group of players is they think way too much about the game, and I think they were trying to do like. I don't know. Winter Wyvern was like dual laning offlane with Earthshaker, and I'm not exactly sure what he was doing there. But like once again, you pick Elder Titan and Winter Wyvern as your supports, which are 2 very, very weak laners. And then you last pick Spectre, probably one of the worst laning carries in the game. And then you don't even attempt to try and give him some help. So it's like, what are you trying to do here? You're just setting yourself up for failure. So none of it made sense even from the get-go.
Well, if he lanes against Legion and he uses Arc Burn, can't he just press the attack to remove it?
Yeah, and you can.
So he's like worthless there, basically.
Yeah.
Except for giving health with his 3rd skill, which is shit early.
Spectre's a hero you can pick if you have like Warlock or Bane.
Or Dazzle or something.
Something good in lane. But Winter Wyvern's not particularly great in lane, especially against a hero like Legion Commander or Abaddon.
Yeah. I think MSS did a great job with the small space that he got, though. I feel like he was in almost all the kills. His skill build was good.
They had like 5 kills or something, right?
He hit everyone.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know. I didn't really expect it. I was very surprised by Spectre. I thought they would definitely be doing like Lifestealer and then kind of last picking something else that would do well versus Ember. And then I think PA might have been a better hero even than the Spectre. It's a hero that some people kind of like up against Lone Druid for a lot of the same ideas of it kind of playing against like almost like a sniper. But yeah, MP's going to do something different. Kuroki's draft was like pretty wild, and the idea for Elder Titan to follow around the Magnus while he tried to jungle was, not a bad idea. It didn't work out particularly great, but if Crystal Maiden didn't have the opportunity to go to whatever lane, she wanted to, then she wouldn't have been able to help out the Magnus in the jungle, because Crystal Maiden was only able to help because Legion Commander and Lone Druid had such good 1v1 matchups already.
Very straightforward victory in the end for Team Liquid. They won't get many free points at this tournament, but I guess you could probably call that one of them.
Yeah, I think that one was pretty straightforward. But it does, at the least, you can look at their draft and think they grabbed safe laning heroes. And it's something I feel like the Chinese teams do consistently. Even if their total draft composition sometimes falls apart a little, at least they still have their juggernauts, their Legion commanders, things that they know are just going to be good in lanes and provide some issues in the laning stage for their opponents. Because sometimes you will get big boosts to your advantage in the early game.
Yeah, obviously the stats not looking good for MP on there, as ever they don't in a big bash like that. Liquid obviously looking exceptionally good. Miracle 11-0-4. Mind Control not dying either, and nor GH on the Magnus. In fact, 4 of the 5 deaths all came from the Lone Druid.
Yeah, it seems like a kind of game that you lose very early with like a new team. But these guys have been a team for a while. They should, they should have learned these things. These aren't very new heroes for them. They've played Winter Wyvern and Elder Titan a lot as supports. Maybe not together, so maybe they're not used to that. But like they should know that like these supports aren't great in lane, so we need to pick carries that can sustain themselves and do well on their own.
Yeah.
Best player of the match? Hard to pick out one, I suppose, but Miracle, I guess.
I think Miracle played extremely crisp, but I don't know if I'd give him MVP.
Okay. Who would you prefer?
Probably Mind Control for sure.
Yeah,
right?
Mind
like
Control.
won his lane, got good duels.
He was set up for success, but he pulled through. He pulled his weight.
Got cool items. Got an SNY.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who needs a blink when you're winning that bad?
Ivan wins the match MVP for game 1. That does put another point on the board for Liquid. It's only their 3rd point of the championship so far. It's a vital one as well. They really do need it. We're gonna do this old school and give you an update as to what's going on right now in terms of the group tables. Very clearly in Group A, I'm just going to say this: OG through and top.
Okay.
Through and top, no problem whatsoever. 4 wins out of 4. They have 12. They cannot be caught for first place whatsoever. Wings currently have 6 points, incredibly. I find that very hard to believe after watching them get thumped by Left Wider this morning.
I saw the standings in there. It was
how
funny
does that work,
because
right?
they look kind of bad. They lost 2 games,
Yes.
but then they won 2 games.
Exactly,
so
and
6
that's
points.
the points, isn't it? That's the 3-point system. We said at the beginning of the championship how vital it was to win 2-0. So Wings, 6 points. Empire right now have 4 points. LFY have 4 points. VGJ 2, and Faceless have 2. Unfortunately, Faceless have also played 4 matches, which means they mathematically can't make the top 2 now. They are the only team across the 2 groups that can't make the top playoffs. So they will be playing in the bottom of the bracket. They know that much. In Group B, this is where things get a bit funky right now. Because,
Good.
IG have 5, EG have 5, Newbie have 4, Vitality have 4, now MP have 2, and Liquid obviously now have 3. So all 6 teams are still in the hunt for the top 2 places. Now I can tell you as well, IG are currently playing Newbie as well.
Is this correct? I feel like MP has a
More.
It's actually slightly out of date. It's slightly out of date.
MP has a win.
Yes,
MP
EG has 5,
3-point game.
MP has 5, because there's a 3-point deficit. So, yes, we should get an update for you any moment. There we go. Look, by the power of television and magic.
Whoa.
There it is. Right, okay. So, IG have won their match over...
IGV? Newbie.
They did earlier,
What are
but
you
they
saying,
played
Newbie?
Newbie just now, so I'm guessing they've won that game.
What the heck?
And so that's a 3-0. So IG have 8 now, which is great for them. It still doesn't qualify them just yet because they can be caught by both EG and MP. MP now technically have to take this point to really have a strong chance, because if they don't win this point now, that leaves them 3 points behind and tied with EG. And they don't play each other tomorrow, so that's some...
And then Liquid's up to 5 points too.
Exactly. If Liquid win this next game, they will also have 5, so we'll have literally 1 point between 5 teams. Only IG able to kind of strike out front. It's becoming very, very fascinating. I like this.
Basically, we have no idea what's going to happen.
No.
Unless...
that's the way. That's a good way of doing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like those.
Unless Liquid wins this.
But
All
do you know
the
what
games-
it does mean, Peter? Do you know what we're going to be doing tomorrow morning when we wake up? We're going to be doing those fantastic permutations. If A wins versus B and B versus C and C wins against D or D draws it.
What time is that starting
I
tomorrow?
don't know. Probably about 12:30 tonight, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. They take a while. Have you not been doing those? I thought you...
I usually just kind of experience and live it in the moment rather than thinking about what's going to happen in the future.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. We'll also we should also check in with our social media questions. Well, you've been very kind throughout the day in sending some good questions and some not so good questions, I have to say. Let's check in with one of those. Are some talents Are some talents are broken? Are some English are broken? Like Lena, respawn talent.
The reason they get broken is because people use them in a way that makes them broken. Like that talent was so obviously designed for support Lena, and then people just grabbed it and put it on a Bloodstone hero and made it back into core Lena. So yeah, in cases like that, it gets a little broken, and sometimes Ice Frog goes a little overboard and makes like Lone Druid ranged as well.
Okay.
Working as intended. It's the job of the pro players to identify the better heroes in the current patch.
And then break them.
And then, take them to a point where they appear broken.
Yes.
But I think it's just, someone figured out that this makes sense to do on Lena, and, it's people are using
it's
it.
the respawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's, I guess that answers that question very, very easily. How many heroes are there with talents that have got respawn? 2, 3?
Oh, there's crap load. There
Is
was
there?
so many when the game
Because I
came
haven't
out.
looked at all of them, but
There was a lot of like level 15, level 20 ones that just
It's just the
were
level 10.
but it's not all
garbage.
-30, is it?
No,
Not
they're all
always. Not
different,
always.
but not a lot of heroes have a level 10 respawn
Right.
talent. We talked about Lion being another one.
Yeah, Lion
but
has the -30 as well, right?
Yeah, it's
you
just,
want that death value. Like you die through the whole game, right? But if you don't get until like 20 minutes, you missed a lot of value the last 10. So
also like if you get your respawn talent that much later in the game, your respawn time is, it's still like 20, 30 seconds.
Mhm.
And in that amount of time, the team fight is over. The cool part about Lena is that when she dies at level 12, 13, her respawn time is like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So
it makes a big difference.
Yeah, massive difference. Why don't we take another one? Have we got another social media question? I'm guessing we have. There have been an awful lot in that Reddit thread as well, so thanks to everyone that has put their questions in. You can also do it via Twitter if you want. I'm sure the PGL guys won't mind having a look at their Twitter every now and again and checking whether they've got any questions. But we'll take one more. We've also got the draft to come, of course, for the second and final game of the day. What do you think can be done to make Dota more accessible? This is a great question. I like questions
another
like this.
podcast question, I think.
It's kind of we've got about 5 minutes, so we're all right now. I think
Okay.
we can turn this into a mini podcast of
Well.
how can we make it. If you were Gabe Newell right now, and you said, right, I'm going to change Dota to make it more accessible, what would you do, Peter?
I think there's like a couple infrastructure things. I'm not exactly sure how it's still working in Perfect World, but I remember you had to have like a registered like license almost, or you had to have like a registered account in order to play Dota here.
Right.
Whereas like you could register a League of Legends account with like any random email or like your like the Chinese Facebook account, which I think is like a huge thing.
Okay.
Just like registering to be a part of Perfect World is different than it would be to like play our counterpart.
Okay.
So that's one thing.
Yep.
Figuring that out would be awesome because China Dota is such a huge part of our culture.
Sure. What about in the Western world? What is it? I mean, one of the things that appeals to me about Dota is that it is so in-depth. There is just such a unlimited amount of depth, so many different choices, millions of different combinations within the game, which makes it enjoyable, but it also makes it hard to play. I'll admit that. I find it a hard game to play. I have always found it very hard to play. Very satisfying when it works, very frustrating when it doesn't. So when we get new people into Dota and they kind of like what they see on the broadcast, they see these games, see these players, these high-level players playing things, and doing things, and they're inspired to play the game. They're very often turned off sometimes because it is such a difficult game to get into. So how do we change that?
Well, there's definitely a big gap of knowledge between a new player and somebody that can enjoy the game. And some of them get frustrated and quit. Some will irrationally blame it on something that's overpowered or BS. And I think there could definitely be some big growth within the guide. In-game guide stuff.
Yeah, you've done a lot of work on that.
I've made a little bit of new player content, but the stuff that's in-game, the features are there. Valve definitely did a very, very much like set up other people to do it, but it's not really monetizable. It takes a lot of busy work, even like updating in-game skill builds and item builds every time.